We pulled this moisture meter out of a Greenwich basement 51 hours after a pipe burst behind the laundry wall. The reading you are looking at told us mold colonization was already starting behind the drywall. The homeowner waited 2 days for the insurance adjuster to call back before he picked up the phone to a restoration company. Those 2 days cost him roughly $20,000 in extra demo, hauling, and rebuild that did not need to happen. Here is the thing nobody tells you when your basement floods in Connecticut. The first 48 hours decide whether you do a clean dryout or a full gut. I am going to walk you through exactly what happens hour by hour, what we do on site, and what you should do in the first 60 minutes before anyone with a clipboard shows up. Mold can begin growing on wet drywall in as little as 24 to 48 hours. That is not a marketing line. That is the standard the insurance industry itself uses when they evaluate a claim. In Connecticut homes, water damage transitions from a clean water event to a mold risk event in roughly 24 to 48 hours. When water sits in framing, drywall, and subfloor longer than that window, 3 things happen at once. The water itself goes from Category 1 clean water to Category 2 gray water as it picks up bacteria from the materials it touches. The drywall paper, which is essentially food for mold, starts colonizing. And the wood framing begins absorbing moisture deep enough that surface drying will not pull it back out. That is why we move fast. Every hour past hour 24 you lose options. Hour 0 to 6, stop the source, start extraction, 1:40 to 3:10. The first move is not calling insurance. The first move is shutting off the water source. Main valve, washer hookup, dishwasher line, whatever is feeding the leak. Then you photograph everything before you touch it. When we get on site, usually within 60 to 90 minutes of the call across Fairfield County, the first thing we do is map the water. Not just where you can see it, where it traveled. Water in a Stamford colonial built in the 1960s does not behave like water in a new build in Norwalk. It runs along subfloor, it follows electrical penetrations, it pools behind kick plates. We use thermal imaging and pin moisture meters to find every wet square foot before we set a single fan. Setting fans before you map the water just blows mold spores around your house. Drying equipment should be placed only after a full moisture map is documented, never before. Then extraction. Truck mount for standing water, weighted extractors for carpet, wet vac for hard floors. Hour 6 to 24, structural drying setup, 3:10 to 4:30. Once the standing water is gone, the real work starts. Structural drying. For a typical Connecticut basement, maybe 800 to 1,200 square feet, we are setting between 8 and 14 air movers and 2 to 3 commercial dehumidifiers. The air movers do not dry anything. They move wet air off the surface. The dehumidifiers actually pull the moisture out of the room. A single LGR dehumidifier in a CT basement in winter can pull 15 to 20 gallons of water out of the air per day. That water has to come from somewhere. It is coming out of your framing. We log temperature, relative humidity, and grain depression every 24 hours. The insurance adjuster will ask for that log. If your DIY guy or your handyman cannot produce one, the carrier can deny the claim. Insurance carriers in Connecticut typically require daily moisture logs to approve a structural drying claim. Hour 24 to 48, the mold inflection point, for 30 to 6 o'clock. This is the window we live and die in. Hour 24 to 48. If you called us at hour 6, by hour 36 the framing is reading inside the dry standard, the drywall is dry to 4 feet, and we are pulling equipment. Total cost, somewhere between $4,000 and $8,000 depending on square footage. If you called us at hour 50, we are not drying anymore. We are demoing. Cut the drywall. Pull the insulation. Pull the baseboards. Pull the bottom plate of any framing that reads above 19%. Now we are at $15,000 to $35,000 and your basement is gutted. The Greenwich job I opened this video with. He waited 51 hours. We had to demo 3 walls and replace the subfloor under the laundry. The pipe burst itself was a $200 fix. The weight turned it into a $28,000 claim. What insurance covers and what they fight. 6 to 7:30. Sudden and accidental water damage in Connecticut is generally covered under a standard HO3 homeowners policy. That includes burst pipes, appliance failures, and most pipe leaks behind walls. What they fight you on. Gradual leaks. Anything they can label maintenance neglect. Mold that they argue grew because you waited. This is why timing matters legally, and not just structurally. The longer you wait between the loss and the call to a mitigation company, the easier it is for the carrier to argue you contributed to the damage. We are not a preferred vendor of any insurance company, and we will never tell you we are. What we do is document the loss in the format every major carrier accepts, so your claim has the best chance of paying out. A delayed mitigation call after water damage in Connecticut can give an insurance carrier grounds to reduce or deny a claim. When to call us versus handle it yourself. 7:30 to 8:45. Be honest about what you are looking at. A cup of water from an overflowing sink, caught in 10 minutes, mopped up with towels. You do not need us. Open a window, run a fan, check it tomorrow. A washing machine hose that ran for 2 hours overnight. A dishwasher that flooded the kitchen and seeped into the basement ceiling. Anything that hit drywall, baseboards, or subfloor. Call. A finished basement with standing water of any depth. Always call. Basements in Fairfield County and Westchester are usually built into a hill. The water has nowhere to go, and the framing on a basement bottom plate will hold moisture for weeks if you do not pull it out actively. If your floor, drywall, or baseboards are wet right now, the call is free. The on-site moisture inspection is free. The number is on screen. We are Go Green Restoration. We cover Fairfield County, parts of New Haven County, and Lower Westchester. We document everything for your claim. We tell you what we are doing and why. And if you do not need us, we will tell you that too. Subscribe for the next breakdown. We are going inside a real mold remediation in Norwalk next week and showing what the demo actually costs. If this saved you a phone call to a contractor who would have oversold you, drop a comment below. The first 48 hours decide everything. Do not waste them. Talking head segments shot in front of equipment in active staging area, not in office. Show the actual moisture meter readings on screen. Do not just say the number. Use real Greenwich basement footage as the spine of the video where rights allow. Real towns referenced: Greenwich, Stamford, Norwalk. All Fairfield County. Do not invent. Phone number on screen for the entire CDA segment. Final lower third holds for 5 seconds before end card.